Okay, so the drawing we're going to do today is going to be this drawing. I did a little 3D drawing of it. I thought for you guys online it'd be easier than you trying to see the actual block that I have. So here is the actual drawing. If you don't recognize that, that's that same little block that I had the other day that we had cut out of wood. And this is the one we're going to be drawing today. I made some of the surfaces different colors just so it made it a little bit easier to visualize. But here is going to be our front view of this drawing. This approximately will be your top view. And then over here will be your right side view. So that's what this different parts of this drawing are going to look like. And that's how we're going to do this. To start with, what we're going to do is, let me get back to my regular view. What we're going to do to start with is, we're going to draw, or what I call block in the front view. So let's start by doing that. So to do that, we're going to come back to our title block. We are going to use the horizontal title block, so the vertical one we don't need at all. So I'm just going to erase out the vertical one. And we're going to start there with that horizontal title block. If for some reason you don't have your title block, this is not a must to do on your title block. You will be graded down just a little bit if you don't have your title block border with it, but you don't have to have your title block. I am going to be doing things on different layers and everything like that, but you don't have to necessarily have your title block. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put it on the layout layer. So if you don't remember how to change your layout layer, you're going to come up top here, hit your down arrow, and select the one called layout. We're going to block in again this front view. To block in this front view, I'm just going to start by putting a layout line all the way across the bottom of my title block and border. And I'm actually going to make it stick out of the outside edges of it just a little bit. That way later when I trim things out, I'll see that I actually had the layout out there. So first off, just a layout line all the way across. Make sure you use your skills, either polar or ortho, to make sure that line is straight across there. Once we have that first line in, the next thing we need to do is we need to put in the height of our drawing. So the height of this front view, well, I don't know that. I have to go back to my drawing here and I have to measure. So from the very top of that drawing to the very bottom of that drawing, it is 2 inches tall. So we're going to come back over here to our other drawing, and we're going to make this 2 inches tall. To do that, just use offset. Offset is such a quick, easy command. It's just O, enter for offset, and then 2. And we have a line there 2 inches above. And that represents the height of the front view. Now with what I told you the other day, other than the height of the front view, what else does this represent? Over here.
Diameter of the circular part?
The diameter of the circular part, yes, is part of it. But over here in this part, it's the height of the front view here. But over here, what is it? It's the height of...
The left view.
Of the right side view. So it's the height of the front, height of the right, and if we were drawing the left, the height of the left also. So that's the height of both of those two views there. All right. After that, we're going to put in a line just to represent the bottom of the top view. Where it goes doesn't matter. So I'm just going to come up here, and I'm going to put a line across for the bottom of the top view. Okay, next, I'm going to put a line across here, up and down, and again I'm going to go outside my border, up and down there, and that's going to represent the left side of the front view and the left side of the top view. Okay, so from here, the next thing we need to do is we need to mark off, and we're going to focus on the front view first. We need to mark off the width of our front view. So again, I'll go back to my 3D drawing, and I'll measure how wide this is. From here to there, the front view is 4 inches wide. So again, we're going to come back to this drawing. We're going to offset 4. And we're going to offset that line over there 4 inches. So now what this has done for us is, this has blocked out this front view. The front view is blocked out there. The front view is good to go. Now, this is going to cause me a little bit of extra steps here in just a little bit, but I do like to go go ahead and trim this out so I'm left with just the front view. So for example, I go TR for trim and hit enter, enter. And I'm just going to trim out that piece of line there, 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 there. And now here, let me show you a shortcut that I usually do. Instead of getting right on it and trimming it, and from here being all this way back, sometimes it's hard for me to hit. A lot of times I'll do this. I'll click, drag my box to the left, and that's called a crossing. So all I have to do to erase both of these, I go click, click, and I get them both. Same with these two. I go click, and I get both of them there. So that makes it a little bit easier to doing that and a little bit quicker. And I'm all about trying to be quick and efficient when I'm doing CAD. So this has the front view, as I said before, blocked out. That's kind of what I call this, is blocked out. All right, so let's zoom in there on that front view, and we're going to get a little bit of details on this front view. So let's look back at this drawing. To get some details of it, we need to know how tall this portion is. So let's measure from here to here, and that's 0.75. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to measure one more thing. From here to here is 2 inches. So again, back to our drawing. From the bottom of this, we're going to offset up 0.75. And from this right side, I'm going to offset over 2. So that's got it in there a little bit. We're starting to get this thing shaped up here a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and trim up again just a little bit. I'm going to trim these 2 lines and those 2 lines. So that has it kind of as an L-shaped piece there. Okay, so now we have this looking a little bit like this L-shaped block. Next, we need to get these circular parts in here. So for that, we're going to have to do a little bit of measuring again. So let's measure from the center of this hole to there. It measures 1 inch. From the center of the hole down to here, it also measures 1 inch. So the hole is 1 inch over, 1 inch up. So we know that. While I'm here, I'm going to measure 2 more things. One, circles are always given by the diameter. So I'm going to measure the diameter of the circle. The diameter of that circle is 1. Now, if you didn't know this from before, a circle with a slash through it, that is a diameter symbol. So it's telling me that circle is the diameter 1. Partial circles, or arcs, are always given with a radius. It's just the way it's done in the drafting world. So this, I'm going to click on it, and it's a radius of 1. So this arc is a radius of 1. This circle is a diameter of 1. And they're over and up 1 inch. So let's go back to our drawing. Let's start by putting the center lines in for these. So I'm going to offset this bottom line up 1 inch. So I'm going to enter for offset, click on the bottom line, and go above it 1 inch. And then I'm going to click on this line over here on the left and go 1 inch over to the right. So that's now giving me the center lines and the crosshair here where these 2 circles start. Next, we're going to go C for circle. Going to pick the intersection of those 2 lines, and there's my circle that I can pull out there. Now on this, notice what it's asking me for. Specify the radius. Did we have any radius of a circle? We had a radius of 1. So I'm just going to type 1 and hit enter. And that's going to put in my first circle. Next, I'm going to repeat the circle command. That's just by hitting spacebar. And now I'm going to start my next circle there. Now my next circle was a diameter. Well, notice down here, diameter is an option. So if I hit D, enter, for diameter, when it shows that diameter option, D and enter. Now it asks, specify the diameter of the circle. Again, the diameter was 1, so I'm just going to type 1 and hit enter. So with this, all the object lines, all the dark lines of this drawing are laid out. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to trim this out to get rid of the lines that we don't need. So for example, I'm going to go TR, enter, enter for trim. Oops, I was not on the right screen. Let me try that again. TR, enter, enter. And I'm going to start by trimming out these 2 lines up here. I need to trim out this part of the circle down here, part of the circle over there, and I'll trim out those 2 lines there. Now notice when I go to trim out those 2 lines there, this one line won't trim out. No matter what, it won't trim. The reason this one won't trim is it's no longer a line that you're trimming to something. It's just this line that goes to right here. So instead of trimming out that piece, you have to erase it. So you're going to have to go E for erase and erase that line. And then now, there you are and looking good there. At this point, again, the object lines of this drawing are done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all those lines that make up the outside of this object, not the center lines. Oops, and just as I said that, I selected the center line. All the object lines, that circle is also going to be an object line. I'm going to select those and change those to the object layer. Why didn't
You're still in the erase command.
Oh, you're all over this, Hope. Look at you. All right. I was like, what the heck is going on? Hey, let's see if that's more beautiful. That's awesome. Okay, again, with that, the front view, it's done for the most part. Your object lines are all in. You still are going to have some hidden lines to put in here, but your object lines of this are done. So we're going to move on, and we're going to look at the top view. Okay, so for the top view, again, we'll kind of block it in the same as what we did with the other view. So I'm going to go above this line, however tall the top view is. I don't know that, so I'm going to go back over here to this drawing, and we're going to take a look. So I'm going to go my top view. I'm going to measure this, there to there, and it's 1.5. So again, we're going to come back to here. I'm going to offset up 1.5, and there is the height of my top view. Now, this time, I should have done this last time, and I didn't. I trimmed out these lines that I didn't really want to. I'm going to go ahead and put in this line, which is going to represent the, but I want that on the layout layer. I'm going to put on a line here that's going to represent the left side of the right view. So I'm just going to put that one in there. That's going to make it when I trim this out that I don't have to redo this in here just a little bit. So now again, as I just said, I'm going to block this one out. So again, to do that, I'm going to trim out these layout lines around the outside. So now we're just going to focus on this top view. Okay. The first thing when we look at this top view, we notice that there's this line that comes across here. And again, I made these different shades so you can kind of see this a little bit. What we're going to end up actually blocking out is going to be this yellow shaped piece here. So I'm going to block out this little piece. For now, we don't have this hole showing through there yet, so we're going to ignore that red stripe, and we're going to go straight across to make kind of this little sideways T-shaped yellow block is what we're trying to work on. So to do that, we have to know how big this is. This is 0.625 wide there, and the other one is the same, 0.625 wide there. So again, coming back to this drawing, we're going to use offset, and our offset 0.625 above this line and below that line. And that's got that laid out there. So now to get the next part of this is we're not going to measure, we're going to transfer a line from right here. So for example, these all have to line up with each other. That's why we do this whole lines or views in an order. So I'm going to draw a line from right here straight up to right there. And I just drew it past, and now I'm going to trim it off. I'm going to trim it off here and there. So now next, when we look at this part over here doesn't have any lines going across it. It's just this yellow surface. So here we have to trim off those lines, but then notice in here it flows kind of in between here with this yellow surface, this space here. So the way that's going to look here on this drawing is we're going to trim these 2 lines off and that one off right there. So now that's looking, hopefully you can visualize that a little bit, that's looking very similar to our other drawing, to our 3D drawing. So at this point, these lines are all done. I'm going to select all that and once again put that on the object layer.